So obviously Billy Napier is going to be going to the Florida Gators, right? He's going to be going to Gainesville, being the new guy especially after the firing of Dan the Clown Mullen. But is this a good hire for the Florida Gators? Well, in my opinion, I feel like this is a good hire. But notice how I said this is a good hire, not a great hire. Billy Napier is a guy that if you look at his track record as a head coach, especially when he was at the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, that's a guy that built a program, right? His first stint there, after Mark Hudspeth was there, or I'm sorry if I butchered that last name, by the way, but yeah, 7-7 his first year. Then after that year, he turned around and he made Louisiana into a contending football team, right? They've won their conference multiple times. They've had 3 straight 10-win football seasons, including this particular season where they only have 1 loss, right? I think they only have 1 loss, and they're once again contending for their conference championship, right? So he has turned around the program, and Louisiana was never a bad football program, right? Right, the 2011, 2014, 2015 stint, they were constant 9-win football teams, constantly competing in the New Orleans Bowl. And then, of course, you had a bad stint, 4 or 5 straight seasons. Here comes Billy Napier, and he quickly turns that ship around, and he takes Louisiana just one more level where they are a contending football team. And at one point, this was a top 25 ranked school. So Billy Napier he knows how to build a program. And if you're a Florida fan, you got to be extremely happy with that because, right, you can have someone that is not just going to have to build this thing from the ground up. It might take 3-4 years, right? Maybe 2 or 3 years in order for them to make Florida a contender against Georgia, right? This is a guy that can immediately turn the ship around, especially with the amount of talent that Florida has. And I get it, right? Recruiting has not been that great. You're going to have players leave and go to the NFL. You're going to have players go to the transfer portal. But the talent that he's going to inherit at Florida is for Billy Napier, it is a gold mine compared to what he had at Louisiana, right? You have to deal with recruiting. You have to deal with, trying to, again, get kids to come to their program. And then you have to try to make them buy into becoming a winning, establishing that winning culture, that winning mentality. So for Florida, right, you're grabbing a winner. You're grabbing a person that can turn the ship around. And that's what you want. He's not a very high character. He's not a high character, right? He's no Ed Orgeron. He doesn't have that trademark "Go Tigers" that Ed Orgeron has. He's not really a spicy name, as far as a Lincoln Riley going to USC or a Ryan Day or Nick Saban guy, but he is a good coach. He's a very, very good coach. But here's the problem, right? How many times have we had good coaches go from particular programs like UCF, Scott Frost? How many coaches have we had that go from these non-Power 5 teams where, again, really good records, really good stints, but then they go to the next level by going to a Power 5 program, and not just going to any Power 5 program, you're taking over a major brand. And how many times have we seen them fail the ship, right? We've seen Charlie Strong do it. It is a different level when you're going to these major brand names, right? Different expectations. Fan bases are more critical, they're definitely more critical of your game. They criticize you a crap ton. Boosters are on your ass. One slip up and you could be gone. You could be on the hot seat with one slip up. So for Billy Napier to get to Florida, not just that, but you also have to battle 4 or 5 schools in your own state in order for you to get the best talent. And that's not even talking about Alabama, Ohio State, Texas A&M, LSU, Michigan, all these elite programs that are now coming into your state and trying to steal your best talent. You have to fight them off, and then you have to fight off your own in-school competition. So is Billy Napier, is he going to be that guy that can immediately turn the ship around and make Florida a contender? Because Florida was 6-6 this year with Dan Mullen, but just last year, they made it to the SEC championship, producing one of the greatest offenses in college football history. You had a Heisman-contending quarterback. You had a potential Heisman-contending tight end, if not maybe one of the greatest tight ends in college football history in Kyle Pitts, right? They were just contending for SEC East championships. And even before Dan Mullen, Jim McElwain, right, he won the SEC East like 2 or 3 times in a row. So the expectation for Billy Napier going into next season is, he's going to have to win at least maybe 9 or 10 games his first season, and he needs to contend for an SEC East championship. And I just don't know if that is a realistic expectation, especially with all the talent that's going to leave. And then again, you have to challenge the recruiting aspect. So can Billy Napier, is he ready for that, right? Is he ready for the recruiting aspect? Is he ready for the criticism? Is he ready to try to really turn this ship around? That is something that we're going to have to find out. We've seen a lot of non-Power Five coaches that all of a sudden they get that big job, they get paid the major bucks, they get and they're expected to turn around a ship, and it just can't really happen because they just don't have that experience at the Power 5 level of coaching, right? So I think that this is a good hire. He's a good name. He's a safe name. That's the most important part. He's a safe candidate. But at the same time, you really got to take a look at the history of these non-Power 5 coaches all of a sudden moving up to the next step, and it just doesn't go as planned, right? Some coaches have been very good, but they have not lived up to those expectations of being championship caliber. Florida fans are going to be expecting him to be championship caliber, to challenge Georgia for the East, to challenge Bama for an SEC championship game and maybe a playoff opportunity, best case scenario, national championship. I don't know if Billy Napier is capable of that. However, we're going to have to wait and see about it. But one thing I can say about him is that he does have a history of rebuilding a pretty decent program, rebuilding it and establishing that winning culture, taking it one step to, taking it to the next level. We'll see if he can do that with the Florida Gators. It's going to be a very tough job. But all I can ask Florida fans is, man, you're going to have to be patient with him because the first maybe year or two might be a little bit rough.